Back in 2005, George W. Bush and Tony Blair were both running things. Gwen Stefani's Holla Back Girl was the most downloaded song of the year, and Revenge of the Sith dominated at the box office. Oh, and on September 1st, I made my way into town for the midnight release of the PlayStation Portable, so I could take it and the one game I'd also pre-ordered with me on holiday later that same day. The game in question was Metal Gear Acid. Acid had already released in Japan in December 2004 and in North America in March 2005, also as launch games for the native releases of the PSP, but as always, I and many other Europeans had to wait patiently for both the console and the game. So was it worth the wait? Firstly, let's talk about the gameplay. This game, unlike its handheld predecessor, Ghost Babel, didn't play like a traditional Metal Gear game. You didn't freely wander around a map, sneaking past soldiers and picking up items to progress to the next area. Instead, each level consisted of spaces, with a set start and end point. The goal was to make it to the end point either undetected or after defeating all enemies in the level. If you were spotted, the door at the end point was sealed so the level wouldn't complete. To move around or commit any action required using cards. Most cards would have other actions aside from movement, such as attacking, evading, equipping items, etc. Some cards were solely for movement, but instead of only moving you 3 spaces like all others, these allowed you to move further. Now, as this is a turn-based strategy game, each character, both player and enemy, attacks one at a time. To determine the order of play, cards are all given a cost. The higher the cost, the longer you have to wait. So if it's your turn and you have 2 enemies, one with a cost of 2 and the other 11, you may play cards that cost you 6. So you will play after one enemy with the cost of 2 and before the other with the cost of 11. Essentially, all active players' costs reduce to 0 at the same rate, and once someone hits 0, it's their turn. So when 2 becomes 0, your 6 will become 4 and the 11 will become 9. The 0 will play cards that could cost 18, then when your now 4 becomes 0, the now 9 becomes 5, and the 18 becomes 14, and so on. The cards formed a deck that would increase as you played through the game. Your deck was randomised at the start of each level and you were dealt 6 cards, drawing new ones from the deck as others were played or discarded. Between levels you were able to purchase packs to increase your total cards with in-game points. No pay-to-win crap happening here. The 4 packs were based on Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3, with a final pack being miscellaneous Kojima games, Snatcher, Policenauts, Zone of the Enders, etc. And that's basically it. Later on you control a second character who operates the same, and you have to make a second deck for them using the same overall pool of cards that you have unlocked, found or purchased throughout the game. So far it doesn't sound very Metal Gear, does it? Well, let's look at the story then. In 2016, Solid Snake is sent to a research facility in the Maloney Republic by Roy Campbell's friend, Roger McCoy. Snake is tasked with retrieving something called Pythagoras. The US are investigating what Pythagoras is because Senator Vigo Hatch's plane has been hijacked by terrorists and they are demanding Pythagoras. The terrorists are only ever seen as 2 marionette dolls, Elsie and Francis, who have a habit of carving numbers into passengers on the plane to send a message. There are other passengers on the plane, including Hatch's assistant and a young girl who has to disarm a bomb that is on the plane. Oh yeah, the plane is also rigged with a bomb. We go back to the events on the plane before most new levels. Shortly after arriving, Snake discovers that the facility has been taken over by a mercenary unit led by a man called Leone, someone with links to Roger McCoy, and that it was the site of human experiments conducted on children by William Fleming and Hans Davis. Not only that, but the security system and Snake's own hazy memories confirm him to be Hans Davis. But without spoiling the story, I won't say too much more. Snake is joined by Taliko Friedman, a member of the FBI's hostage rescue team. They were wiped out at the start of the game, necessitating Snake's involvement. Taliko has worked under Roger in the past and has her own interesting sub-story, which again I don't want to spoil. Even if you are unable to play this game, or the idea of a card-based strategy game is not to your tastes, I would recommend seeking out some kind of playthrough or movie-style video just to experience the story. There are plenty of twists and turns, including the obligatory Metal Gear reveal, and you definitely need repeat playthroughs to truly experience everything that is and that has happened in the story's timeline. It feels very Metal Gear in that sense. Speaking of the Metal Gear reveal, it is a disappointing unit and is essentially a bullet sponge. If you don't have the right cards in your deck, this can be a real slog and goes on far too long without even being a challenge. It's just a bit boring. Couple this with the annoying issue with the controls whereby you have to stop exactly on items to pick them up or crawl under spaces or use ladders. This can easily cause you to waste cards just because you have to travel one more spot to get to the base of a ladder before using another card to actually climb it. Thankfully this gets ironed out in the sequel, and the Metal Gear of Metal Gear Acid 2 is much better. They are the only real negatives though. Of course there are those that will not like or enjoy this style of game. To those people I say try to seek out the story if you want more Metal Gear content, but nothing I say and nothing the game does will likely sway you from that opinion, and that's fine. To others who are a little on the fence or were in the dark about this game, try it out. The story is great and the gameplay is fine, even exciting at times. Also, if you do get on with the controls here, then Acid 2 will be a joy to play as it refines everything. But more on that in a later video. For now though, I would give Metal Gear Acid an 8 out of 10, and I would have given it a 9 if it had the gameplay refinements from the sequel. I will be doing a review of Metal Gear Acid 2 in the future, and if there are any other Metal Gear games you would like me to review in the future, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more Metal Gear studying. Till next time, goodbye.